Sure, here's a reimagined version of the story with a bit of a more reflective tone. The Astronomer and the Stars, a fable of balance. Once, in a peaceful village nestled at the edge of the sea, there lived an astronomer who spent his days gazing at the night sky. From his small, simple cottage perched on a hill, he would watch the stars twinkle and dance, his mind lost in the vastness of the universe. The stars, the constellations, the planets. He lived for the mysteries of the heavens, believing that within the night sky lay all the answers to life's greatest questions. His heart longed to understand the cosmos, to untangle its secrets and chart its endless expanse. Each night, as the village settled into slumber, the astronomer would slip out of his home, leaving behind the warmth of the world below. He wandered far from the village, treading on the rocky paths and rolling hills, always looking upward. The darkness of the night sky was his canvas, and every star was a brushstroke in a masterpiece that he alone was meant to comprehend. The villagers lived their days in simple harmony, farming, fishing, and celebrating the little joys of life. They shared meals, laughter, and stories, their bonds woven tightly through the rhythm of daily existence. But for the astronomer, these earthly joys seemed small and fleeting compared to the grandeur of the universe. Why waste time on the mundane when the stars held such promise? So he kept his distance from the world below, choosing the solitude of the night over the warmth of companionship. His life became a cycle of sleepless nights spent studying the sky, followed by long days of rest. He rarely ventured out during the day, for he felt that the true wonders of the world were reserved for the nighttime. The astronomer cared little for the land that supported him, distracted by his search for celestial knowledge. He saw beauty only in the sky, dismissing the simple pleasures of the earth beneath his feet. But one fateful night, as he wandered the hills once again, his thoughts lost in the glittering constellations above, disaster struck. He tripped over a hidden log, tumbling to the ground in a tangle of robes and frustration. A neighbor who had been roused by the noise hurried to his side. "Are you all right, my friend?" the neighbor asked, offering a hand. The astronomer, slightly embarrassed, accepted the help and pulled himself up. His neighbor looked at him with a curious gaze. "Why do you spend so much time staring at the stars?" he asked gently. "When you miss the beauty of what's right in front of you." The astronomer laughed, dismissing the thought at first. The stars, after all, were his passion, his purpose. What could possibly be more important than the mysteries of the cosmos? But as he returned home that night, the neighbor's words echoed in his mind. Could he have been so focused on the distant wonders above that he had neglected the simple joys of life on Earth? For the first time in years, he decided to sleep through the night, letting go of his nightly vigil to explore the heavens. When he awoke in the morning, the village was alive with the sounds of morning chatter and laughter. The warm light of day filled the air with life. The astronomer felt a twinge of sadness, wondering what he had missed during the night. But as he stepped outside and breathed in the fresh morning air, something shifted. His neighbor, who had helped him the night before, invited him to join for breakfast. The table was set with warm, crusty bread, sharp cheese, and a steaming cup of coffee. As they sat together, the astronomer couldn't remember the last time he had enjoyed such simple pleasures. He marveled at the taste of the bread, the richness of the coffee, and the warmth of his friend's company. How had he gone so long without these small, earthly delights? As they walked through the village, the neighbor shared the beauty of the world around them. They passed a woman selling fresh fruit from a nearby stand, and the astronomer was invited to taste a glass of sweet orange juice. It was cool and refreshing, a flavor so real and vibrant that it felt as though the entire universe could be contained within that simple sip. "Ah," he thought to himself, "the stars are beautiful, but they cannot be tasted or touched." The villagers, who had noticed the astronomer out and about, gathered around him, eager to show him the hidden beauties of their world. They led him to a nearby garden, where wildflowers bloomed in vibrant colors, reds, purples, yellows, all the hues of the earth. The scent of the flowers was sweet and rich, filling the air with an earthy perfume that seemed to ground him in the present moment. He marveled at the intricacy of the flowers, the wild irises and the lilies that painted the garden in their delicate hues. How had he not noticed such beauty before? The softness of the earth beneath his feet, the warmth of the sun on his face. It was a world he had been blind to for far too long. As they strolled through the garden, the astronomer finally understood. There was wonder in the stars, yes, but there was also wonder here on Earth, in the simple everyday moments that had passed him by. The beauty of friendship, the joy of a shared meal, the fragrance of flowers in bloom, these were the treasures that filled his heart, grounding him in the world he had once overlooked. From that day on, the astronomer found a balance between the vastness of the sky and the richness of the world beneath his feet. He no longer spent every waking hour staring at the heavens, but rather learned to enjoy the wonders of both the stars and the earth. And as he gazed up at the night sky, he no longer felt the same emptiness. Instead, he saw it as part of the great, beautiful tapestry that connected him to everything, above and below, near and far. This version emphasizes the astronomer's journey from being consumed by his passion for the stars to discovering the joy in everyday life. It mirrors the idea that both the universe above and the world around us hold valuable lessons if we take the time to appreciate them. Sure, here's a rewritten version of the story, focusing on the astronomer's growth as he learns to slow down and appreciate both the world around him and the stars above. The Astronomer's Awakening. A story of balance. As the astronomer stepped from the rough, winding path onto the cool, smooth marble of the temple's floor, he noticed a change beneath his feet. The heat of the day was beginning to rise, and he appreciated the coolness of the stone, so different from the rugged ground he had wandered across for so many years. He stood still for a moment, feeling the ground beneath him, allowing the shade of the temple to settle over him like a quiet blessing. A soft breeze stirred through the ancient pillars, bringing with it the refreshing scent of the earth outside. Around him, the townsfolk were exploring the temple, admiring the marble statues and intricate carvings on the walls. But the astronomer wasn't in a hurry. He was content to stand still, feeling the subtle shift in his body as it connected with the temple's peaceful energy. For once he realized he didn't need to be in constant motion. There was no need to rush to the next discovery or the next wonder. Sometimes, it was enough to simply be, to take a break from work and study and savor the moment as it unfolded. When he was ready, the astronomer wandered slowly around the temple, taking in the artistry of the structure. The delicate carvings, the careful arrangement of the columns. It was all part of a community's devotion, a testament to the beauty found in shared reverence. He had spent so much time alone in the dark, chasing the stars, that he had never stopped to consider the wonders of the world beneath his feet, created by the hands of those around him. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the group left the temple and gathered in the village square for lunch. There, they shared simple, nourishing food, soft cheeses, leftover bread from the morning, roasted barley, and ripe olives. The astronomer had always rushed through his meals, eating in haste to get back to his observations, to his pursuit of the cosmos. But today he relished each bite. The salty burst of the olives, the smooth richness of the cheese, the satisfying crunch of the barley. It all tasted new to him. He took his time, savoring the flavors in a way he never had before, appreciating the beauty in food as much as in the stars. When the meal ended, the fruit seller returned with a basket of fresh fruit for dessert. The villagers drizzled honey over the fruit, making it even sweeter and more indulgent. The astronomer took a bite of each piece, enjoying the vibrant, juicy flavors that danced on his tongue. How had he missed this before? He thought. How had he gone so long without truly experiencing these simple pleasures? After lunch, the townsfolk returned to their homes for a midday nap, but the astronomer found that he couldn't sleep. Instead of drifting off as he usually did, he listened to the world around him. The gentle rhythm of his breath in and out, the soft twittering of birds in the trees, the buzzing of bees moving lazily from flower to flower. He could smell the blossoms of the garden outside, their fragrance carried by a light breeze. The world seemed so alive, so full of richness, and for the first time, he noticed it all. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, there came a knock at the door. His neighbors had returned to invite him on one last adventure for the day. They were heading up the mountain, they told him, and they wanted him to join them. Together, they walked the winding path up the mountain, the narrow trail surrounded by scrub and rocks. The evening breeze rustled through the leaves of the shrubs, and the birds circled high above. The astronomer felt more alive than ever before. Each step he took was mindful, the crunch of the earth beneath his feet grounding him in the present. The soft murmur of the townsfolk's voices, the rhythm of their footsteps, all of it felt so real, so immediate. Even in the dark, he had never felt so connected to the world. At the mountain's plateau, they laid out blankets and began unpacking the food they had brought. The farmer took out fresh vegetables, the fishermen shared salted herring and calamari, and boiled eggs were sliced and passed around. Everyone laughed and talked, but the astronomer sat quietly, letting the world swirl around him. He listened to the stories of his neighbors, the ones he had so often ignored in his quest for distant stars. He noticed the way the trees swayed in the wind, casting long shadows across the rocks. He looked down at the village below, feeling a deep sense of connection to the people who lived there, to the place he called home. As the sun began to set, the sky exploded in shades of pink, purple, and gold. For years, the astronomer had always rushed past this moment, impatient for the stars to emerge. But today he slowed down. He watched as the sun sank lower, casting the mountains and sky in breathtaking colors. Each shift in the light felt like a revelation, a reminder that beauty wasn't only found in the distant stars. It was here, in the world around him, if he was willing to take the time to notice it. When the sun finally disappeared behind the mountain, the villagers began to pack up their things, but the astronomer stopped them. He had something to show them. He led them to a soft patch of earth and invited them to lie back, gazing at the sky. Slowly the stars began to appear, poking through the darkening sky, their bright lights casting shadows on the ground. The astronomer had seen these stars countless times before, but now he saw them differently. He noticed how their light illuminated the landscape, how the trees and rocks stood in sharp contrast against the dark sky. It was beautiful, not just the stars, but everything they touched. "Isn't it wonderful," his neighbor said with a smile, "to simply be under the stars?" The astronomer nodded, his heart full. He didn't need to be constantly searching for the next discovery. Sometimes the most profound beauty was already right there, waiting to be seen. As the villagers lay there, stargazing, their eyelids grew heavy. One by one, they began to drift off to sleep, content and at peace. The astronomer, too, felt his body relax. But instead of heading back to his bed, he took a pillow and blanket outside. He laid down on the soft grass under the vast, glittering sky. Tonight, he would dream of the stars, but this time, he would fully realize their beauty, not as a distant pursuit, but as a part of the world he had come to appreciate, just as he now appreciated the earth beneath his feet. He closed his eyes, listening to the gentle sounds of the night, the soft hoot of an owl in the distance, the rustling of leaves in the breeze. As sleep came to him, he felt at peace, knowing that, for once, he was truly present in both the sky above and the world below. This version highlights the astronomer's gradual shift from a life spent chasing the stars to one that embraces the beauty of both the heavens and the earth beneath him, finding harmony and balance in the moment.